Trench Mob Testimonies, where we dive into how your test became your testimony.
I'm Tony, and we got Jeremy with us as well. Today we got a special guest, man. No need for introduction from us, man. We've had him around a few times on a couple of our previous podcasts on Twitter, man. Over a decade of coaching experience. I mean, he coached NFL guys. He coached the Buck Buchanan Award winner and a national champion in his own right. Coach Siddiq Haynes, man. How you doing?
Man, I'm too blessed, man. I appreciate that, and man, whenever we can just get on and chop it up, man, it's a blessing for me too. So, man, I appreciate that. I'm blessed.
Absolutely, man. Good to see you, bro. You just hop right into it, man. A native of Durham, man. Tell us a little bit about where you're from, man. I know I've never been to Durham before, man. Tell us a little bit about Durham, man, and what it's like for the people who've never been out there.
First off, you got to throw up the Bull City, right? So, man, I've been up and down the East Coast, and whenever people ask me where I'm from, I always say I'm from Durham. Born in New York, I only lived there for about 3 years. We moved down to Georgia when I was 3 years old. Lived there for 6.5 years. So I feel like I'm a Southerner at heart, even though I was born in the North and went to school in the North. Man, I'm a true Southerner. But we moved to North Carolina when I was about in the 5th grade. And, we're Muslim. And a large part of the reason why we moved there is because there was a growing community there that my parents knew about. So they wanted to kind of reposition us, right when we were about to be in our middle school, high school years to transition. So moving there, to be honest, man, it was during a period of time to where it was really booming. A lot of people from the North and the South started moving there. And it was even called a melting pot at one point. But man, you get that nice laid back feeling. Raleigh isn't too far from down there. The Durham Bulls is right downtown. We got plenty of college teams with Duke, UNC, right around that area. So as far as the attraction, man, we had the attraction, and it was just cool for me to see how a city can transition from where it was to now it growing. You see the construction popping up in different places, and you really just see it start to thrive a little bit. Now, that wasn't in every area, right? There was still some areas that was a little less fortunate, especially around some of the areas that I was at. But overall, man, it was some good people. It was good for us when we first moved down there, man, and it was just a cool transition from coming from from Georgia to North Carolina.
Nice, man. And so you played your ball at Delaware, man. Tell me how the kid from Durham, North Carolina, man, find his way to Delaware, man, and what led to your decision to go there?
Yeah, it was, man, it's a cool story because it was a week before signing day. And, during that time, man, the recruiting process, man, I had my highlight tapes on VHS tapes, right? Me and my pops did all of our highlight tapes, like the 2 VCRs, press play on one, put the other one in, hold record. And we, man, shout out to my pops, man. We probably made about 40 VHS tapes. And it wasn't as easy as just logging on to Twitter or getting an email and just sending a link. Like, we had to physically go to mail individually each one of those out to schools. And up until that point, I had 2 scholarship offers, Fort Valley State and Savannah State at the time. And man, I was actually driving in the car. I can't remember where I was at, but I got a phone call from Coach Law, who was the assistant defensive line coach at the time at the University of Delaware. And, he said, it's kind of late in the process. We got your tape. We like what we saw. They didn't have a scholarship, but, they wanted me to come take a visit, see if I liked the school and kind of go from there. I took a visit, man. I fell in love with the campus. My family got to be with me. And it was a situation where, you just weighed out all the options. For me, I had to give up 2 full rides at the time, which was a pretty big deal for me to be a preferred walk-on. But it just felt right. The campus felt right. The people felt right. The education. 3 years before I went there, they had won a national championship. Little did I know. Again, my pops actually just sent these tapes out again. So I wasn't even up on Delaware until he said, nah, they just won a national championship. Like, you got to give them some respect, man. We took a visit, man. We fell in love. So, I went to Delaware. I had to earn everything that I had. I gray shirted. So that first semester, they had to see if I can do college credits. So I took an English and a math at a community college up there in Delaware. I moved up there. So my Monday through Friday was, I worked at a pro physical therapy place where I trained from 8 until about 3:30. And then I did my night classes from about 4:30 until 9. My whole fall semester, lost 30 pounds, got 2 A's, and wound up earning a scholarship that very first spring that I went there because some money had opened up. And, the rest is kind of history. It was a 3-year starter. We played in a couple national championships. I was surrounded by some really, really, really good players. And, man, they just showed me what a winning culture looked like. And it was something that I even look back on, man. It was one of the best decisions that I made in my life.
Man, kind of staying in that same lane. I mean, you was a dog. You went on and walked on and earned yourself a scholarship, man. That says a lot to your character and type of man that you are. And at the same time, you won 2 national championships. Kind of talk about that, because I think Tony kind of sold you short at the beginning, man. He didn't need no introduction. People got to know national champion.
Well,
2-time national champion.
So here's the thing. I needed some redemption. So as a player, we went twice. The very first year we went was my freshman year. We had Flacco on the team, and man, we went on a run. And when we got to the playoffs, we were a lower seed, so we had to go on the road to play some dog teams. Well, that year we ran into Appalachian State, and that was the year that they had beat Michigan as probably one of the top 10 greatest college moments. Armani Edwards, I believe, was the quarterback. Long story short, man, it was a juggernaut team. We actually fell short that game. We got beat that game. And then you flip it to my senior year, just seeing what it took to actually get there. It was probably 6 or 7 of us that were freshmen that played on that team that was still on the team by the time we got to my senior year. So, we had 2 down years, one of the worst years actually in the program history. We went 4-8 one year. And we just knew that we didn't want that to happen again. Had a pretty good year. Again, we were the top seed at this point, so we got to play at home. And then we ran into Eastern Washington my senior year. Now this one, right, man, we, on paper, I believe we were the favorite. The way we started out the game, up 17, I believe we was the favorite. And man, that one went down to the fourth quarter, and we had to actually wind up losing. We were up 19 going into halftime, and then wound up losing 20-19. And the reason why
that's even more of a story, though, if you think about it, man.
Oh,
a lot of people don't make it to 2 national championships, and you can't win them both. But that's something to be said about getting there. But at the same time, going through that down of losing 2 national championships and still finishing your career the right way, man. Just kind of speak on that too.
Well, it was amazing full circle how it happened. And we played the very first game when they transitioned from Tennessee Chattanooga to putting a national championship in Texas. So we actually played the very first game down there in Texas. And it's so crazy how it works, because that was the first time and we did end up losing. But flip it, when we won the national championship, we went back spring of I think it was spring of 21, to where it was the COVID year. It was kind of that unique situation. We had a 10-game season, and how ironic, man, we went back to where I had lost the exact same field, the exact same sideline. And how about some redemption, man, going down on the last drive of the game, winning against a pretty dang good team that was stacked. And even our playoff run, man, we had got kicked out the playoffs a couple times, over our since 2014 up until we won. We had won a lot of ball games, made it to Final Fours, but to be real, man, we got dusted out the playoffs. Like, we ran into North Dakota State, JMU. They made us feel like we weren't supposed to be there. So we had to really recruit, and to that playoff run, to where we had to play both of those teams to beat them. I got a little bit of redemption because it was the CAA, and JMU was in the same conference as we was when I played. So I got a little redemption on that end, but then to go back there as a coach, man, it was amazing how it happened full circle to come back around to be able to win. The biggest thing, man, is you just get experience. as a player being in those big games, even as a coach, man, if you haven't been in those type of games, in my opinion, I don't care how ready you say you are, man, you got to be in those games to feel that intensity, to coach in those moments, and to overcome them. No different if your team grows character by playing multiple overtimes or having to win on the last drive or having to come back from being down. It's kind of the same deal with coaching, man, just building on those moments and thriving in those situations, man. It's some unbelievable moments.
No doubt. And kind of speaking on that, man, at what point in your career or your time in your, playing career did you, kind of see yourself becoming a coach, and what was your first opportunity?
So, man, it was something that was in the back of my head. I got my bachelor's in English, with the thought of being a high school teacher at some point. And, in my mind, one of my most influential people was my English teacher / high school coach, who was the reason that I majored in English. He told me to kind of always stay ready and always stay prepared. So I figured get my bachelor's in English, at some point retire as a coach, have that so I can coach high school ball. Well, after I graduated, I got to work in marketing for a couple years at the University of Delaware. Man, and I didn't get the passion that I got for football, really at the end of the day. So, being away from that, it turned into me getting a accidental call from Coach Keeler, who was my coach at the University of Delaware. And we wind up just catching up. After we caught up, he said, "So what do you really want to do?" I just said I had been thinking about wanting to get into coaching. And, if there was ever an opportunity for him to let me know. And he said, if there's everything that would come up, he would let me know. Well, little did I know, he wound up getting fired from the University of Delaware. And he did some broadcasting. And long story short, he wound up being in the market for coaching. He called me and say, "Look, I'm about to get this job. If you want it, it's yours." So I put my 2 weeks notice in because he was going up there for an interview. Long story short, he came back and didn't get the job. Now, fortunate, I'm good with the people that I worked for because they let me come back to work. I was actually selling cars at the time, so they let me come back. I think a few weeks later, he wound up getting another interview, which turned out to be Sam Houston State. This time when he called me, he said, "Look, I'm closing out. I'm gonna need you down here in 2 weeks. Pack up. It's official, signed, sealed, delivered." So it was a blessing that he thought about, bringing me down there. Started on the offensive side of the ball, man, and the rest is history. I just being able to positively change people's lives, and you always talk about that caveat, kind of the sweet spot of being able to be in the game of football. Like that's a different type of passion for me. So being able to do both of those things, man, and I'm a competitor. So being able to teach a group what you put on film, you're responsible for, to see that come to life, to see them go through hardship, to be able to be there for them, to talk to them, go through their relationships, go through their loss in family, just all that combined in one. And once I got a taste of it, I just felt like it was what I was supposed to be doing, man, and I haven't looked back since.
That's awesome, man. And now the defensive line coach at UTSA, man, and historical first 2 years, posting 12-2 and 11-3 records and back-to-back title runs in Conference USA, man. But switching, you guys finna make the jump. You guys going to the AAC now, the American Athletic Conference, in your third year there. So just talk to me a bit about what you think the state of college football is, man, with all this college football realignment. What's your thoughts on that?
Man, I'm a simple person, right? And a large part of being in this coaching business, man, if you find yourself worrying about things that's out of your control, that's schedule, that's job, that's the next job, that's the past job, that's the next conference, man, you're going to find yourself searching for ghosts, right? So the way that I feel is it's an honor that we've been selected to move into the AAC, right? Our kids are thriving at the opportunity to go against different competition, right? There's good competition in every conference, right? There's good players on every team. Just being able to play on a bigger stage, to see how we fare against how, some teams rate others as being higher in the country. It's an amazing opportunity, and we all want that opportunity, quite frankly, to be the best. And it's not that we talk about winning a lot here at UTSA, which is a beautiful thing. We talk about upholding the triangle, right? Our culture pillars, and what we put on film is more important about the wins and the losses. It's whether we are upholding being physically and mentally tough, showing integrity, showing passion, being selfless, right? Giving perfect effort. All of that needs to show up. And if you look over the course of the past few years, even since Coach Traylor has been here, that showed up on the film, and we've won a lot of ball games as a result of it. So the state of football, in my opinion, right now for us is pretty dang good, right? We're in a thriving city right now. Our fans are starting to really pour into us on a big scale. Obviously, when you move up, you get more television revenue. The school gets more money. So all that stuff with us being so new, I just got our program. I think we're in year 13, if I'm not mistaken. Just with us being so early in our program history, this is all new and reviving for the city. So we're in the moment, man. We're in the moment, and the kids are taking it a day at a time. And if you asked any of them right now, they would say they're focused on Houston, because that's our first game. And then after that, they say whatever comes after that, we'll deal with it when it gets there. And that's kind of how I'm looking at it in the same. So I'm where my feet are. Our kids are excited. Obviously, I'm excited to be in a new conference just to see how we fare, man, and take this thing a week at a time.
Absolutely. And from ads or anybody who's in college football coaching, man, you always talk about the athlete experience, and what a wonderful opportunity when you talk about providing that athletic experience joining a new conference. So, man, I can't wait to see what you guys do. I know you guys are gonna ball out, man. But just kind of spin it back to you, man. You've had an outstanding coaching career thus far, and what's next for Deke, man? I know you got a passion for coaching, but is there anything else out there that you may have some interest in?
Man, well, shout out to my wife, right? I just got married in December, and we're expecting our baby girl at the end of December this year. So for me, man, that right there was the biggest fulfillment, right? So personally for myself, man, I'm looking forward to being a dad and continue to be a good husband. And that's something exciting in my life that I'm looking forward to. After that, I'm really excited to just see these boys go to work, right? We've been grinding all summer, grinding all spring, grinding all training camp. And for me personally, it's always exciting to see all of the work that they put in, right, leading up to the game. There's a crazy, crazy electricity in the 210 right now. And, it's not until you really step into that first home game in the Alamo Dome, or when we travel down to Houston and it's going to be one of them games, right? And that's something that we get every week. So in that sense, man, I'm excited for the season to start. And then for me personally, man, I'm big on being where my feet are. I'm taking this thing one week at a time, focusing on recruiting to continue to have my room the way that I want it to be. And to be honest, man, I'm one of the best head coaches, the best head coach in the country. And I'm probably biased by saying that, but you ask anybody that's around this culture, that's in this building, that understand what it means to have a team that thrives on culture, or a team that thrives on companionship, that family atmosphere. You get all of that here, right? And it's nothing fake about it, right? Sometimes people got to finesse it a little bit and say that's what it is when it really isn't. And I think we've all kind of been a part of that at one point in our lives, have been around to see what that feels like. But I enjoy going to work every day. I enjoy walking in to see the kids. I enjoy starting the music before the team meeting to wake them boys up at 6:30 in the morning, right? So it's those moments. It's the moments when sometimes my players got to bring their kids to meetings, right? Because they trying to be good fathers. And I got to have my GA look after the kids in the meeting room so they can watch film. It's those moments. It's the moments when your kids get to graduate. So I just try to focus to be where my feet are, to make sure I'm giving my kids everything that they need. And as y'all know, man, your personal life, you got to be able to detach personal life from work life. So for me, I got to be intentional about how I'm with my wife, right? Especially because she's pregnant right now. So I'm big on being where my feet are, making sure my home is good. And for me, I'm happy going to work every day. So making sure I pour into my kids and give them everything they need is something that really, it keeps me focused. It keeps me grounded, and it keeps me on focusing on the next day. Right. So that's kind of, for me, I'm where my feet are. I'm excited for the season. I'm excited for my baby girl to get here, man. And I'm just taking things a day at a time.
No doubt, brother. Congratulations on that, man.
Absolutely.
Congratulations
Congrats, man.
no doubt.
Appreciate that.
That's huge, man. Becoming a father is it's a job, but at the same time, it's a glorious thing, man. I'm telling you, it's gonna change you as an individual. It's gonna change you as a coach. It's gonna change you as a man. Feelings are gonna be different about every little thing, bro. I'm telling you, especially a girl. Oh my goodness,
Man,
you know.
I already know, man. I already know.
I,
We already super protective in my family already. So, man, I can't
yeah,
wait.
I had two girls before I finally got my boy here, man. So I'm blessed to have my boy. My youngest is 8, and he's 1. And man, look, it's a blessing, man. But want to kind of get to the point, in why we call this trench mob testimonies, is to trying to dig into who you are and what changed you to be the man that you are right now. Because we all fall short, right? We're never
Hmm.
perfect in our life. Some things that we went through in life that kind of help mold us. It might be one of your biggest challenges, or whatever you went through in life. What was your biggest test in life that allows you to come on here right now and tell us your testimony?
Patience, man, patience, and it's easier said than done. And that's, just talking personal life, and career wise, growing up, having to deal with, alcoholism in the family, having to deal with divorce in the family. Um, Patience is the number one thing. And I shouldn't say the number one thing, faith, right? Faith really is number one. But my belief in God, being a Muslim, that is the foundation. But right after that, I would say being patient with people as they're trying to grow, being patient with the situation, trusting that your family is heading in the right direction. Professionally, I was, at a point where I was at Sam Houston State, starting on the offensive side of the ball, kind of as an analyst, as they would call it back there, for 3 years, before transitioning to the other side of the ball. And it was a long time where I was the assistant coach, to where I felt like, I was supposed to be the guy. And I had to be in a room 3 years in a row where 3 different coaches came in. And, for me personally, it was a personal struggle, because in my mind, I dealt with resentment at times, because I was supposed to be the guy, right? That's what I like. Those were the real feelings. And I would let things that aren't supposed to bother me then bother me, to the point to where I'm like, man, don't nobody believe in me. My time ain't coming. Why am I even doing this? Right. So I had a lot of those real feelings. And the thing that kept bringing me back to it was the kids. Right. And then a lot of times in situations to where we're feeling or seeing things that are negative, man, we miss out on the positive part of it. Right. And it comes down to the choice of what you choose to think about. Right. So like in those situations, man, I learned so much from those coaches that was in the room. Right. I learned ways that I wanted to do things. I learned ways that I didn't want to do things. I learned how I wanted to run a room. I took things that were successful, and then I broke things down that I wanted to tweak a little bit. And little did I know those years that I think that I eventually was patient. God is the best of planners, right? He presented me with my moment when the time was supposed to be, right? And when the time was right. And the continuation of being patient, with patience comes trust, right? In order to be patient, you got to trust in something. And for me, that's trusting in God. That's trusting in the situation that I'm in. And that's also trusting to be where my feet are. What I've learned just being around so many people, when you're worried about things out of your control, man, you single-handedly, a lot of times, bring yourself down, bring your energy down, bring your worries up. you add stuff to your life that you don't even realize you're doing. And a defense mechanism then comes down to pointing a finger or blaming other people. Right. So like you end up in this cycle to where, man, it's a lot of negativity. You end up lashing out on people that you shouldn't be lashing out on. And you're never fully grateful for what you are presented, man. There's a blessing in anything and everything, right? And there's always somebody out there doing a little bit worse. So being patient is one of those things that, you know, even even as we're in a relationship as husband and wife, you know, that's one thing that continues to show up. That's always going to present a challenge, right? But you just need those situations to show that you can be patient. So I think for me, that was the thing that I had to really tap into. It took some self-reflection. It took some honesty. It took some breaking down some walls for myself. And on the other side, man, it gave me humility, right? It gave me peace of mind. And I was able to thrive in the moment and celebrate all of the successes that came along the way. So I would say that's probably the biggest thing that was for me in my personal life and my work life, just being patient.
Man, I love that right there, brother. You said something. Like you hit so many angles with, you know, with patience, just in life in general. You know, being patient with yourself is tough, man. I know, me and Tony are going through it right now. You know the struggle. You know what I mean? So it's like you got to be patient with yourself, not be so hard on yourself, because you know who you are, you know how good you are, but you know it's so many buts to it. Why so many buts? Be patient and be grateful for where your feet are at and who you are, and be thankful for what you have and and don't look at what you don't have.
Correct.
You know, because sometimes you can kind of get in your own way, like you said, man, and then you hit another one with the marriage, brother. You just not getting into it, and I promise you, it's a forever evolving door when it comes to learning your spouse. And you know, because she changes as you change too, because you're both growing and you're both getting older, and your body's changing, your mind is changing, children are coming into it, so things are different. It's going to change a lot of different things for both of you guys. So man, patience with that, brother. Definitely we're gonna be praying for you in that light, because heck, I deal with it every day, man. We got 3 of them over here, and patience is a virtue, man. You really gotta be patient with these kids, brother. I promise you. And it's different, but it's a blessing in the same token. So man, kudos to you, brother. Congratulations on everything that you're doing, man. We love to see you, man, rocking away at UTSA, brother. I already know y'all gonna kill it this year, like y'all been doing it every year you've been there. So
appreciate that.
A new conference gonna be the same result in my eyes. So congrats, brother. Our early congrats to that, and just keep pushing along, man. Keep doing what you're doing. You are a inspiration for a lot of guys like myself. When guys watch this thing, they're gonna look at you like, okay, man, I want to be in his shoes one day. You know, and they're going to look up to you, and you're doing the right things in life in general. You're doing the right things on the football field. I look up to you, you know, so man, just keep doing what you're doing, man. Proud of you, brother. Congratulations on everything, the marriage, the football life, the new baby coming, baby girl coming in the world, man. It's a blessing, brother.
I look right back at y'all, man. Right back at y'all, because the fact that y'all created the Twitter space, that y'all doing this podcast, man, that in itself is inspirational as well. You know, being the piece that needs to be in place to get it out to the world, man. It's something that's needed. It's something that appreciated, and man, I'm one of y'all, and I understand the grind. I understand what it's like, and I mean, I looking back, man, I'm going into season 10. Right. So when you look at it like that, man, you look back and I feel like I just got in this thing. You know what I'm saying? But we at the right place at the right time. And it's been a blessing to be able to connect with guys kind of like me in that sense, but to be able to branch out, man, and help whenever we can, for sure. So I appreciate that, man, and appreciate those words, and wish y'all nothing but the best as well.
No doubt, brother. No doubt. I think Tony kind of froze up on it. But hey, look, man, we appreciate you, brother. Man, look, that is Trench Mob Testimonies, man, and we are out.